Okay, we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to leave that poll up just because more people are coming in and it'll be interesting to see. And then when we close that, everyone can see the results of that. But thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Like I said, this is a wonderful turnout. I can tell everyone's very excited to hear from our superintendent and just hear what's going on. So I imagine that this is the first meeting for a lot of people. So I think we should take the opportunity to talk a little bit about SPC and who we are and what we do. We are called Scottsdale Parent Council, but really we serve everyone, community members, teachers and staff, anyone who takes an interest in the students of SUSD and trying to provide the best education for all of our students. But we really serve as a liaison between our parent community and that broader community and the district. So we try to just help inform parents about the district and vice versa, and have the district be able to hear the voice of parents. We have an executive board. You'll be hearing from each of them tonight. And then beneath that, we have SPC representatives. We have 2 for each school. So these representatives serve as our way to hear what's going on at each of the schools, and then for them to also communicate, those messages from the district. Our general programming, we have a general meeting once a month. So this is our first general meeting of the year. And this meeting features an extended Q&A with Dr. Menzel, but typically we'll have about a 15-minute Q&A with him. And then we'll have time for our SPC representatives to also make announcements. And then we will have a featured topic with a featured speaker, either someone from the community or someone from the district if we're trying to highlight the district resources on that topic. And then we'll also host several special events. So those are meant to be more specific topics. So again, a speaker, or we also host some events for PTOs from the different schools to come together and to just collaborate and learn from each other. And that is about it. So I think if Brad, can you end that poll and we can take a look at it?
You see it up?
I can't see it. Can other people see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think you can each, I can't see it because I'm sharing my screen. So I guess that blocks me from seeing it. But you can scroll, I think you can just scroll on it on your own and see. Curious to see.
Looks like we have 42% attendees from the Desert Mountain Complex. 61% are doing the enhanced distance learning. 61% their students are in elementary school, with 51% having 2 students. 7% participate in the SPED or ELL programs, and 60%, this is their first meeting. So excited.
And then how did they hear about it? Did that question come up?
Let's see here. Your school's parent organization was the biggest, 28%. And then next would be your school's principal. So thank you, principals.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So we'll start off, Jill, we'll do our land acknowledgement. Go ahead, Jill.
Okay. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect on the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we are doing our business today. We wish to acknowledge this land on which this SPC meeting is taking place. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Hohokam, the Akimel O'odham, and most recently, the Salt River Pima Indian community. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Maricopa, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land.
Thank you. Okay, so here's our agenda. We'll have some brief updates from each of our executive board members, and then we'll have our Q&A with Dr. Menzel, and then just a wrap up of our upcoming events. For the Q&A, we collected questions ahead of time, so we will go through those. If we get through all of those, you can put questions in the chat and we'll try to filter those in as well. But we got quite a comprehensive. Just want to acknowledge our secretaries, our Jill Mullen and Cindy I'm sorry, I'm totally going to say it wrong. Krazik. So they are,
check.
thank you very much. So they are taking minutes for us tonight. And then we have our VPs of programming, Jill Lassen and Allie Robbins.
So what we've been working on is, future events. Right now we have September mostly nailed down. We're going to have a great speaker. Her name is Joanne Crone. She is the founder of No Guilt Mom. She has website, training, Facebook groups, and it's going to be on teaching our kids to take control of their virtual learning. In addition, we welcome any suggestions or ideas you guys have for future programming. This year looks a lot different than years in the past, so we understand that the needs are going to be much different as well. So if you want to snap a picture of, the QR code there, it'll take you right to the survey, or you can, copy the link and do that whenever you get a chance. But we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. And now we have our treasurer, Megan Prince.
Hi, everyone. So the board has approved the budget for the 2020-2021 year. It is available on our website, parentcouncil.org, so you can go look at it closer there. We do ask member schools, so Emmy mentioned the representatives from each school, those are our voting members, to donate $100 to help us with those expenses. General membership is free, so keep coming to these meetings as a general member, but we definitely appreciate donations. We really try to get those great speakers Joe was talking about to donate their time, but sometimes it helps when we can pay them. And it's very simple to donate, or if you are a school PTO that's going to pay the fee, you can do that on our website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Up next, we have our VPs of Advocacy, Holly Davison and Pamela Smith.
Hi, I'm Holly, and I'll have Pam jump in a second too. So we are excited. So this year there are 3 open positions coming up for the SUSD Governing Board, and there are 6 candidates. So we are hosting a candidate forum. It's going to be virtual, September 29th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's going to be moderated by Wayne Shutsky from the Scottsdale Progress. You can see here the 4 candidates who've agreed to participate. There were 2 candidates that did decline. So we'll have Julie Sanowski, Elizabeth Hart-Wells, Zachary Lindsay, and Rose Smith. I believe I saw a couple of them on here tonight. So thank you. And Pam, I'll let you introduce the election information. Okay, I'm not sure if she's still there. So as we all know, we have our general election coming up November 3rd. So we will be sending out more information on that. Remember that early ballots are sent out October 7th. So we'll be sending information on the election and also specific education initiatives.
Great, thank you. Now we have our VPs of Outreach, Lulu Faraj and Kyra King.
Hi, I'm Lulu. At this point, we are getting together with your PTO members at your schools so that we can have a better way of communicating, getting information out to all the parents so that you know that it's not only important what happens in your schools, you need to know what's happening district level, and we want to be that bridge that connects us to you with your PTO. We're also working on getting a roundtable together for some virtual fundraisers because the schools still need money, and so we're gonna put our brains together and figure out some interesting ways to do that. If you have Facebook, we have a right there, the Facebook outreach page. Please add us. You will have information on the upcoming election. I will post whatever I can on there so that you guys get the information that you need.
Great, thank you, Lulu. And now we have our VP of Communications, Brad Duell.
Hey everybody. So we've been making all the latest updates to our website, scottsdalecurrentcouncil.org. If you go there, you'll see a calendar of our events, SUSD's important dates, contact information for all of the executive board members, and then we'll be placing all our documents there as well. Also, over the past week, I've been working with Debbie Spalding and IT with regards to the EDL rollout. So if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, send them my way and I can field them too. Thanks.
All right, thank you. At the end, I'll put all of these links and emails and everything in the chat before the meeting ends. Next, we have our VPs of SPC representatives, Rose Munoz and Rachel Feitlinger, and they'll give an explanation of what the reps are and the importance of the role, and also highlight the schools that we are still looking for reps. We either have no reps or there's a few that we have only one rep so far.
Hi, I am Rachel Feitlinger. It's nice to be here. And first, I want to thank all of the people that have already volunteered to be representatives. It's so important to have a rep for every single school. You are allowed to have 2 reps. So it's great for you guys to be that people for your community. A couple of things that you're responsible for. Advertising, getting the word out about upcoming meetings and events that we do. We create flyers and graphics that you can put on social media, things you can put in your newsletters coming from your PTOs or your principals. So we will have all of these graphics available to you. And so you can use them, send them out. The other thing that will be really important is when you attend these meetings, we have so much information that we do talk about, or we'll have some great speakers. You'll want to bring back a lot of this information to your community. We will send you a wrap up. We're going to call it, I think, the post. So it's just a bunch of key takeaways and things that you can also send out to your community via emails and newsletters. So it's important that you stay in communication with your principals and your PTO and your parent groups to make sure that they're aware of everything that's going on. So the toolbox is going to be a Google Drive box, a folder, excuse me, that we'll drop all this information into. So at any time, you'll be able to go to this one location and get everything that you need, but it will also be our goal that we email you all of this information out too. The other great thing that you will be able to do is you will have the opportunity to speak at our general meetings. So I think it will probably end up being at the beginning of our meetings. You'll be able to have a few minutes to tell us some great things that are going on in your community or things that you might be concerned about. I will just ask and I will email everybody and remind you is please submit if you want to request, if you'd like to speak, like a week in advance so that we can prepare for that. The other thing that you also are responsible for is voting on behalf of your community. So anything that we have that comes up that needs to be voted on, you will be that person to vote. That's why it's really important that you have 2 reps from every school. One, because then you get your 2 votes. You'll also vote on the board for next year too. Another reason why it's important to have 2 reps is, you know, we can't make every meeting. It happens. Right now they're virtual, which is easier to attend, but when we are able to see each other in person, we usually flip-flop them from morning to evenings. So we want to make sure that no matter what, you have someone who can attend the meetings. If you have any questions, Rose and I are here to answer anything. You can email us at any time. You all should have already received an email from us, but you will receive another one after the meetings. So Rose is going to tell you now which school positions, which schools we still need reps from.
Hi, thanks, Rachel. I'm so glad to be here and I'm glad that you guys are here. Thank you for your commitment. And I'd just like to echo what Rachel said about you guys. You're very vital to SPC's mission to advance the welfare and education of all students in SUSD. So you have a very important role. And I just want to commend you for being here and taking on that role. The top 3 schools that you see on this list, Pueblo, Hopi, and Tonelea, they still need a rep. They don't have any reps. So if you are from any of these schools, please, if you're interested in being a rep, please contact your school principal, or you can email Rachel or myself, and we can help you facilitate that communication with the principal so that you could become an SPC rep. The following schools have only 1 rep. And just like Rachel said, it's important to have those 2 reps, not only, in case one of you can't make it, but also so that you are able to vote. So please go back if you are a rep to one of these following schools and see if you know any parents, or work with your parent group to try to see if anyone else is interested in becoming a rep for your school. So here you have the URL. All SPC reps are required to sign that code of ethics form. And you will get this form emailed. And just like Emmy said, she will also post it in the chat for you to get. And also for you to mark your attendance here. So again, thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, please contact Rachel or myself. And we would be happy to help you any way we can. Our contact information you can find, just like Brad said, on our Facebook page. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now we have Dr. Menzel is joining us. So as I said, we collected questions in advance, and we'll have Jill Lassen will be going through those questions with him. If you have additional questions or follow-up questions to what they're talking about, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll try to work them in there as we go along. So I will stop sharing this and take it away, Jill.
All right. All right, I'm unmuted. Okay, so welcome everybody, and welcome Dr. Menzel. I thought that we could possibly start with asking Dr. Menzel to, for an overview, maybe you can let us know where we're at. There was a board meeting last night. Maybe there's been some discussions or decisions made since then. So, and that may mitigate some of these questions that we have as well. So maybe we can have you start with that.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jill, and thank you all for showing up tonight. It's good to see so many parents who are engaged and involved. As you know, the success of the school district is due in large part to the work that you do as parents, and your engagement is so critically important. So I don't know how many of you stayed up and watched our 4+ hour meeting yesterday, but we did have a very lengthy conversation, both call to the public as well as discussion around the topic of metrics related to when it's deemed safe to reopen our schools. You may recall that back in early July, the board was presented with 3 options on July 7th. Those were pared down to 2 on July 9th. The first 3 options included return to learn in person, hybrid, and then fully online for the first semester. Because of feedback that we had received during from the time of the initial presentation to the July 9th meeting, hybrid was removed as a recommendation. And a number of people have said, we still don't understand why hybrid was removed and now hybrid's back on the table. So I want to explain that. And the reason it was removed back in July was because we were trying to manage the logistics of standing up a full return in all of our buildings and a hybrid option. And there was no way logistically to be able to address the difference between students on campus 5 days a week and those that were coming every other day, for example, and then sharing a common cafeteria space. So all of the reasons why you would implement a hybrid strategy kind of were thrown out the window when you were standing it up along with the full return. There were other logistical concerns and actual equity concerns. So when you think about a high school schedule, who gets online classes versus who gets in-person instruction. So if some students are assigned to algebra online and other people get algebra in person, does that impact their ability to access and be successful in the curriculum? So we had a lot of questions like that. And as a result, we eliminated the hybrid option at that time. So fast forward, as you know, the environment changes on an ongoing basis. We get new information, even just watching what was happening in Arizona as the number of cases of COVID were skyrocketing. We were leading the nation in terms of the increase in COVID cases. We got serious again about implementing mitigating strategies. People began to wear masks again. Gyms were closed down, public spaces and public convening of large groups were closed down. And now our data is moving in the right direction. On July 9th, the governing board also made it clear that we didn't want to be the people deciding what the health metrics were that indicated when it's safe to return to learning in person. That really, that's the purview of public health officials. And so our ask at the time is to have the public health officials provide the data necessary to determine when we could actually return to learn in person. As you know, and those who watched the board meeting last night, on August 6th, the Department of Health Services did provide recommendations for school districts to consider that include a red, yellow, and green metric with 3 different measures that determine their recommendations on if schools should be all virtual. In a hybrid situation, that would be the yellow area, or if we're able to return in person with minimal community spread, that would be the green area, and that would be the equivalent of our full return. As we started looking at that data, it became very clear that we're going to see incremental improvement, and we anticipate we'll continue to see that. And it's going to be a while, in all likelihood, before we move from red to green. There's going to be a period of time that we're in the yellow. And so the first question is, were we willing to reconsider the question of a hybrid approach to learning? And from the feedback that I've been getting from parents, and I actually had a student advisory board meeting this afternoon, I got some feedback from students. This has been really hard. Distance learning is not the first choice for most of our families. It's maybe a necessary choice in a pandemic, but it's definitely not the preferred option. So what I've been hearing is that having some return to learn in person is better than no return to learn in person, and that it makes sense for us to consider what moving to a hybrid option could look like for Scottsdale Unified. There have been a number of people urging us to look at lessons learned from other school districts, other communities, look at the research, think about American Academy for Pediatrics, talking about how important it is for students to return to learn in person, elevating research about impact on our youngest learners, which suggests that maybe you can start with the younger grades and then grow from there. We also know that there is a significant negative impact on our students with special needs. So all of those variables get put into the mix as we think about what next. But what the governing board did last night is officially said, we're going to use the Arizona Department of Health into the school year. When we get to the point where we're returning to learn in person, and we're then thinking about, okay, how many are coming back from Scottsdale Online into campus, then we're probably going to have to do some more shifting to make sure that the right balance is in place. It's again going to be one of those things that's pandemic-induced discomfort, because it won't be optimal. It will be what we need to do to ensure that we have good balance across our teaching loads. But that does mean that there'll be some students who end up shifting teachers potentially at that point. While we don't like it, it's probably necessary to manage the class sizes if in fact we can return to learn fully, in the green metric, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think whatever can be done safely, right? I do have 2 more questions, guys. So we're almost here at the end of the line here. Uh-oh, did I lose myself? Okay. Soul seems to be very paper and parent intensive, printing intensive. does not seem sustainable for parents to print the necessary amount of pages every day, nor to sit with their children all day. And based on this question, I'm assuming we're talking about the younger learners. So what can be done at the district level to make this better for parents? I know in the EDL, we are getting the books, so we don't have to print, but Soul's different.
So that is a new challenge for me, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I don't have the answer to it, but I certainly believe that we should be able to find a way to address the printing challenge for our families so that there's no reason not to be able to access the content. With respect to the level of parent support, that's a harder one because with younger learners, I've heard that same complaint on the enhanced distance learning as well, that it just, there's a lot of over the shoulder, making sure you stay engaged, kind of don't get distracted, work of the parent. And I really feel for our parents. I feel for our parents with multiple children. I feel for our parents that are trying to juggle this and work. This is not optimal. It's not something that I would wish on anyone. And that's why if we can, as a community, do what we need to get the COVID rates down to the right number, we can get out of this sooner. Just imagine if instead of on May 15th, we didn't open wide, but we just continued to do the responsible things, we might actually been able to start the school year in some semblance of normalcy. That's what's at stake here. And so the sooner we can get there, the sooner we can provide relief for our families that are really struggling to kind of juggle all of these things.
Thank you. And it's probably a very realistic, it's how a teacher is dealing with a child that requires more one-on-one than the child next to them. It's hard overall. So for the last question, it's regarding SPED. So they need more ed tech resources for their kids. A lot of our SPED students, need one-on-one or close to one-on-one support. They'll have aides, especially while they're in the mainstream classrooms. It's just been really difficult for them to keep up. Yes, our schools are underfunded. There are staffing shortages, teachers, paraprofessionals, but for these students to be successful, they need greater support. Is there any kind of commitment to increasing the focus and resources for special education, such as additional ed tech positions?
So the district convened a special education committee, and this started last year, I believe. And I have not seen their final report, but I've heard a lot of really positive things about the group that convened. My understanding is that for a number of years, special education has been an area of frustration and a place where we needed to spend some time and energy to improve how we approach the services and the supports we provide for our students. And it's my understanding that we have some recommendations that are forthcoming. I don't know if ed tech in particular is included there, but I do know this, that both from an equity perspective as well as just a legal requirement, free appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment, we've got an obligation to provide the services and supports necessary to help our students be successful. We do receive IDEA funding. We do receive other Medicaid support services for certain things that we're able to provide. So the question in my mind is, how are we allocating the resources? Do we have the right people providing the right kind of support? And right now we're navigating special ed in a pandemic. There isn't anybody who wrote IDEA that contemplated what does special education look like in a pandemic. So that's part of the frustration our parents feel. Our special educators are feeling the same frustration. They're trying to figure out, how do you do this remotely? How do you do PT and OT and the other things that our students need? And quite frankly, technology itself is a problem for some of our kids with IEPs. And so that's why they also get elevated as a group to say, as soon as we can do in person safely, even if it's in that yellow zone, special education has to be high on the list of what we're prepared to address.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, as long as, we all have this understanding that this is, you guys are thinking about this top priority among many top priorities. But I just want to thank you so much. I know it went over. We're at 7:18, but we really appreciate this time. We have had our biggest turnout for SPC yet, and I know it's because everyone was very interested in what you had to say. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and step off and give the microphone to Emmy. So thank you, Dr. Menzel.
Thank you, Jill. Yes, thank you, Dr. Menzel. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Allie, for helping compile those questions. So, and thank you, everybody, for coming. Our next general meeting is usually in the middle of the month. They will all be virtual like this at 6 p.m. until we're in person for school. So September 16th is the next one for that. And then, as Holly mentioned, September 29th is that SUSD candidate forum. That will be streamed. We're not sure on which platform yet, but it'll also be recorded and available for watching later. So please remember to take our survey for the SPC programming. And if you have any questions or feedback, please email us. There were a lot of other links in there that I was not able to add to the chat. So we send a monthly email. The best way to stay on top of what we're doing is to become a member. You can do that on our website, and then there's a be a member button that gets you on our mailing list. And Brad also keeps our social media up to date. On Facebook, we're Scottsdale Parent Council, Instagram, and Twitter as well. So just if you like those pages, then you'll see all of our meetings and all of our information. So thank you again, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emmy. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Menzel, if you're still here.